plaintiff, Corey Jones, says he didn't discover the defendant was his brother until he was 10 years old. When Corey was 15, he ended up in prison, but he turned his life around once he was released. Corey's suing his brother because after working for him, he refused to pay Corey for his services. Defendant Maurice White says he and Corey were extremely close and often partied together. But when Corey gets a girlfriend, he does everything he can to please her and often lets these women use him. Maurice is countersuing Corey for lost wages and slander.
Start with you.
I had a lot of surprises in my life over the years. One of them was my brother Maurice. I didn't find out that he was my brother until I was about 10 years old.
How'd you find out?
That's the thing. It was a guy that was terrorizing my neighborhood. And my mother one day told me that that guy, he shot your father years ago. And so I went up to the guy because, you know, I was a troubled child. I went up to the guy and I asked him, why you shoot my father, you know? And he didn't respond why he shot my father. His next question was, have you met your other three brothers, you know? And I told him no, and he was like, would you like to meet him? And so again, I did a foolish thing. I jumped in the car with him, and he took me and he introduced me to Maurice and the other two brothers and his mother, who, you know, treated me like I was our own kid. And after meeting Maurice then, we kind of like got distant because of the fact that I had another surprise in my life. When I was 15, like I say, I was in the streets at that age. I come from a very, very dangerous neighborhood in Alabama. So after losing contact with Maurice, and that's the reason, because I was convicted and sentenced to prison at the age of 15, tried as an adult, because I was walking with four other guys and they decided to rob somebody. And quite naturally, I'm there, so I'm guilty, you know. And after leaving prison, I went to school in prison because they wouldn't let me play basketball or anything until I got my GED and everything. After losing contact with Maurice, and that's the reason, because I was convicted and sentenced to prison at the age of 15, tried as an adult.
Defendant Maurice White is countersuing his brother, who admits that he went to prison when he was 15 years old.
Go ahead.
So when I got out, I moved to New York. I immediately moved to New York and started doing loss prevention work, where I was very successful.
And the firm hired you despite your record, or they didn't find
I had a friend, and I told him, you know, my situation, and he was like, "Hey, man, just fill out the application," and they hired me, you know.
Okay.
So, and I, you know, I wanted a job, and so, you know.
Just wanted to know, because a lot of prisoners who are being released now, it's very difficult, so I just wanted to know
but
how
once you try,
were.
it's going to come. It's going to fall in place.
Not for everybody.
Well, for me, it did. And it didn't stop, because after I became the successful loss prevention officer, I wanted to always go back to Alabama and live, you know, like a decent human being. So I did go back to Alabama, and I landed a job as a floor tech. And they had a sign that said, if you're full-time employee at the hospital, they would send you to school, and they would pay for you to go to school and pay for you, you know, give you a weekly check. So I got into that, and I became a medical assistant, went all the way up to being a phlebotomist.
And they didn't know about your background?
They did know.
Yeah.
They did
and
know,
so that's another
they did a background
example.
check.
The majority of those ex-offenders can find employment and opportunity, but some can't. Depending on the crime, may be more difficult for some than others. That's the only point I was making. I don't want us to mislead viewers who are incarcerated. I don't want the guys that committed triple murder and get out at some point to think, oh, Judge said I'm gonna go and get a job, and it ain't gonna be a problem. You can be calling me. Now, my judge, where that job? Why don't you hire me? You said I was gonna get one. I don't know many people gonna hire that person. So, but thank God, majority of them do. And so you built your career, and you all continued your relationship?
Yeah, we continued after I came back.
And did you all ever end that relationship? And if so, why? Because you're suing him today. Is it over this?
Fell off a little bit because he had made an attempt to live with me, and he had called me and told me that he needed the key. And I was, you know, I was kind of stuck in the emergency room drawing blood at the time. So he came by the emergency room and got the key. And when I got home, he had a woman he was bringing into my house and looked like somebody had dug up from the ground.
Okay, so you didn't like the woman. You didn't like the woman's looks. Go ahead, sir. You give me some background. I got you. You made your point. You ended your friendship with your brother because you didn't like the way his woman looked. Go ahead, sir.
We continued our relationship when Corey got back to Mobile. I think he's about 30-something years old. When we continued, I'd do anything for my brother. I love my brother. But
why you bring this ugly woman home to his house? You knew he didn't like ugly women. You ever seen him with an ugly woman?
First of all, the woman wasn't
Well, then you knew.
The woman wasn't ugly, Your Honor.
She wasn't ugly?
It wasn't his cup of tea, but what's my cup of tea
This is
ain't
so
yours.
silly. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, but when we kept the relationship going on, we partied together, we hung out together. But my brother, he's when he get a woman, he gets very, what do I want to call it? He's very henpecked.
Okay.
So when I did attempt,
give me some, describe that. Give me some incidents or examples.
When he owned, like when he got money, she's there. When he ain't got no money, she ain't there. He do everything to please them, but when he don't have anything, he comes around.
How you know all this? He tells you?
He come back and tell me.
I don't tell him nothing, Your Honor. Fine.
What you suing him for today?
Maurice asked me, did I want to work in his restaurant? I told him, sure, because I'm on disability because I was injured by an aggressive sight patient while performing my duties. And he tore my shoulder where it had to be screws in and everything. So I said, yeah, I work, So I worked for Maurice the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th. On the 9th, which was a Saturday.
What was the agreement?
The agreement was he would take care of me. So I was under the impression that, okay, he's at least going to pay me minimum wages, because, I am his brother, so.
And that is the law.
That is the law. And that night, we was getting off, and he came to me and he said, oh, bro, I'm not going to be able to pay you minimum wages. Then he went to writing to my 35. I said, well, you on crack or something? You crazy. So he went up to 45. I said, you're doing better, but you in rehab or something, because, So I said, look here, man, I ain't gonna be able to do this here, because I'm coming from a long way driving my truck to, work for $35, $45 a day.
So there was an intention for you to continue?
It was, but then I told him I wasn't gonna be able to do it.
Okay.
I told him I wasn't gonna be able to do it.
And so you asked for minimum wage? That's all you're asking for, obviously?
Yes, sir, that's all I was asking.
And that's for how many hours per day out of
8
those
hours.
3 days?
It was 8 hours per day.
All right.
And so that's like $174.
Yeah, that's reasonable. You didn't come in here lying saying he promised me a portion of the business?
No.
All right.
We continued our relationship when Corey got back to Mobile. I think he's about 30-something years old. When we continued, I'd do anything for my brother. I love my brother.
Defendant Maurice White is countersuing his brother, who admits that he went to prison when he was 15 years old.
Sir?
Yes, sir. On that day, Corey worked for me on them 3 days. I came to Corey on payday. That was that Saturday. I told Corey from the jump, I said, Corey, and then I didn't ask him to work for me. He came to me. He told me, he said, bro, my money comes once a month. I be needing extra. I said, well, I tell you what, because I put him out for like 2 months before, because I knew I was just starting a business and I wasn't able to pay like a regular job right then. So when he came to me the last time, I said, all right, then I tell you what, I'll let you work with me. All the thing I had Corey doing was hot dogs.
Yeah, but what was the agreement on paying?
The agreement was, like he say, that I'll take care of him. But then when I told him I could pay you $35 a day.
When did you tell him that?
I told him that the first day. He told me $35.
No, you just told me you said, I'll take care of him.
But I did say $35. But then he told me.
No, those are two different things.
Okay, well,
now you're not making sense.
Okay.
And so far he has. Okay. Go ahead.
I told Corey on the day we got paid, that was that Saturday. I paid him for 2 days.
Just 3 days later?
No, he worked 3 days, but he came in on the middle of the week. We get paid on Saturday.
After working the second day?
After the 2 days, you get paid. So when I gave him the money.
How much?
I gave him $90.
Okay.
I got witness statements.
Okay, and what?
Showing that I paid him, and I got the witness statements showing that I paid all of them.
They saw you?
Time. Yes, sir.
How many?
2 of them.
They were standing around?
Yes, sir.
What are you doing that for?
Oh, I was giving my witness.
He worked for me.
Yes, sir. But I gave him the $90, and he called me. He didn't talk to me that night. He called me the next day. He said, "Bruh, I can't do that. I said, what you mean? He said, I can't do $90. I drive, like he said, I drive too far for $90. I said, I understand. But I was frank with you the first time. I'm not able to give you that right there.
He never mentioned minimum wage?
No, he never mentioned. He said, well, he did say, that ain't even minimum wage there. I said, okay then, bro, that was all I could pay. I told you I can give you $45 a day. That was $90.
All right. And you say you never agreed to $45.
No,
Did
sir.
he mention $45?
He mentioned he went from 35 to 45.
Before you began working?
No. That was on the 9th.
After you had worked 3 days?
After I had worked 3 days.
Got it. All right. Let's see your witness statements. People who were standing around. Did you pay them?
Yes, sir.
The people who were standing around?
Yes, sir.
Well, they were holding around you.
Yes, sir. I paid all of them. I paid all of them together because I just started a fry, Your Honor, that everybody in the city of Mobile is eating right now. It's called Stupid Fries.
Okay.
And it's a brand that I made up, and I got it patent. And here goes a couple of pictures.
Let's see it.
Yes, sir. It's stupid fries, stupid hot dogs, everything's stupid.
All right. I don't have any comments, sir. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm glad to see you're in business for yourself.
Yes, sir.
It looks good, in fact. And you say it really looks good. And you say you've been in business since July, or how long?
Yes, sir. I've been in business a year now.
Okay, and how's it going?
Well, right now, what comes to this point right here, when I was renting from this guy, and he told me he didn't want to rent to me no more. So me and my wife went and found another building, and that's when I told Corey. I said, Corey, I'm finna get this other building together. As soon as I get it right, I got you. I got your money.
Where
I got
you
your
at now?
I'm down the street from where I was.
I know, but your success.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm asking, are you successful?
Yes, sir. In one day, I can show you. In one day, work $1,000 or $1,200 a day, and that's just on a small business.
Why you pay me?
Yeah.
Because this came. The reason why I wasn't able to pay him right then is because this just came about.
It's what?
This restaurant just came about here.
How long ago?
I've been open 4 weeks now.
All right, and you've made $1,200 a day.
$1,200 a day.
And you don't think you have enough to pay him what, by the way?
Now, I owe him $45.
Okay, you don't think you've made enough to pay him?
I tried to, but he's did this.
Defendant Maurice White is countersuing his brother, who admits that he went to prison when he was 15 years old.
$1,500 is your counterclaim. How so? How does he owe you $1,500?
Corey went around telling my dad, telling everybody in the city, talking about some, well, first off, 700 of it was because that's what I make a day, or roughly a day, and I had to close down the restaurant to come here for 2 days.
You make $700 a day.
I'm just roughly saying altogether.
Yeah, you take home about $700, your profit or whatever.
Profit, yeah.
$700. And you've come here for $174. Instead of paying him, you admit to owing him something.
Yes, sir.
So instead of paying him, you'd rather fly across country and lose $700 in business. All right. What'd you say the name of the business? I was looking at
Stupid fries, stupid hot dogs, everything stupid.
I'm just looking at the food. I don't see. So, once again, sir, how did he slander you?
He slandered me by going and telling my dad and them, oh, he don't have a restaurant. He just lying.
You have evidence of that?
Yes, sir. Oh, my dad and them? No, sir, I don't have a restaurant. He just came up to the restaurant and said, Maurice, he just told me you didn't have a restaurant.
You have any evidence? Or did you lie on him intentionally to make him look bad?
No, sir.
All right. And based on what I've heard, I believe it is reasonable that he asks for minimum wage, and the law requires minimum wage. And the lost wages, I'm going to deny because you belong here, because he has a reasonable belief that you owe him. And now that we know he's won, you certainly do not get lost wages. So I will grant your judgment and deny yours. Have a good day, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
He's a liar. You know what I'm saying? He's a liar. I paid you. And as a brother, I would never say nothing else to you. You brought me down here and lied, man.
You brought yourself down here. All you had to do is pay.
Right, man. I gave you.
You hurt because what the judge
I gave
told
you your money, man.
You didn't give me nothing. Don't eat the stupid fries.
Hate them.